Hey guys, welcome to another English commentary done by Diggity. This is OSL round of 16, match between Savior and Flash, and I've lost track of who's ahead or who's what in this. Generally I've known who's won and lost individual games, but until it gets to the next round I tend not to pay as much attention just because there's a lot of dead games and there's a lot of kind of convoluted stuff going on in the OSL, and I'll figure it out one day, I'm sure. But in the meantime, Katrina, looks like Savior's starting at that 3 o'clock position. He's in orange. At that 6 o'clock position we have Flash in blue, and Flash known for being really kind of a cheesy player. We'll see if he does that here. I don't think he needs to on this map, honestly, because I think in this matchup it really favors Terran, and I'll explain why in a second. Basically, let me do the statistics first. First of all, Terran have beaten Zerg on this map, I think something like 5-1 at this point, maybe 5-2. Let me go back over the games. Okay, the last Zerg winner was Luxury over 910, and 910's not anything fancy, and Luxury is actually a very good player, so I mean that's to be expected. But Shutter ended up beating GG Play, although I have to give Shutter, he had some creative play in that. Iris beat July. July is slumping, but see, Letta beat Klon, Kanata beat Klon, and honestly I think Klon could have beaten Kanata very easily, and C beat Savior. And I think on most other maps, C would lose to Savior, at least the way, kind of the comparison, but no shame in that. Yellow, Aaron, and C did manage to beat Nada on this map, so that's kind of the invariable. Oddly enough, though, Protoss beating Terran 7-2, Haya beating Reach, Up Magic beating Bisu most recently for Terran victories, but really, I'm going to call that Up Magic victory against Bisu. Bisu just didn't care about that match. He was already up basically 2-0 in his grouping. He might even have been 3-0 at that point. And that's the thing about the OSL. It's really confusing because you'll later on you get a lot more interesting play. You get a lot more aggressive and kind of balanced play than I think you see in the MSL at times. But just because you have a weird kind of different seating system. And Flash, as you can see, he's going to block his front door. I'll get to that in a second though. But you can end up with games where basically players just don't care. They're just throwing games away because they don't need to win it. And oftentimes it's even advantageous for them to intentionally throw it. So Bisu, I mean, why continue to play and take a round when you know your Up Magic might advance over GG Play? And honestly, between those two, I'd rather see GG Play in the next round if I was Bisu than Up Magic, although he's been dominating GG Play lately. Anyway, point being, OSL's whack. This map specifically, though, very whack. Going to other Protoss wins, Much beating C-Letta, Huni beating Lomo, which no big surprise, but Pusan beating Flash, Tester beating Mania MST, Stork beating Nada, that's fine, but Cal beating Firebat Hero, but to be honest, Firebat Hero was slumping there. And really, I think the difference on that map is basically this, what you're going to see right here, is Terran tend to blockade their front door exactly like this, and it makes it extremely difficult for Zerg, because they basically get a free expansion. They can go and take that protected expansion at basically no cost. They don't have to worry about Zerglings, they don't really have to worry about any sort of push from the Zerg player with that front door block. They can invest very few troops to defend their front door, and it's on the Zerg to come up with something in the meantime to kind of deal with the Terran that's going to basically go fast expansion and then immediately either fast tech or basically just kind of run them over with a ton of troops at that point. The exact opposite effect you'll see with Protoss, because basically Terran will again block their front door, but you don't want to do that against a Protoss player, in my opinion, because when they do it just because it's that available option, it's the better option to take, but when on a map like this, you block off your front door, the Protoss just kind of moves up, keeps a scout there, makes sure you're not sneaking out, and just takes over the rest of the map. And so basically 2 expansions for Protoss stronger than a 2 expansion for Terran, which is stronger than a 2 expansion for Zerg. And you kind of see that in standard gameplay simply because a Zerg will take a second expansion almost every single game as an opening maneuver. But really, I think it's because basically Terran get in that mindset where they're going to be in more of a defensive position. They can't do that against Protoss. They can do that. That's very effective against Zerg. And they have all sorts of options as a result against Zerg. And as you can see, Savior just immediately going to go, Flash immediately going to go Engineering Base and Academy here. 1 to deal with Lurkers with Comsat, but 2 to deal with Mutalisks. And Savior, in fact, going Lair Tech, so he's going to go very quick Lair. So that's going to deal with basically the 2 options that Savior could go as far as tech. And so it's just a very difficult map, and interestingly enough, he kind of took the other gas first and hid the fact that he was getting that second gas from Flash, but Flash is going to be well prepared either way, and it looks like Flash producing some Marines. My guess is he's just going to do a standard medic Marine. Anyway, point being, I think this map is silly. It just ends up, you end up results like that. You end up Terran losing a large percentage of the time, and you end up against Protoss and against Zerg, end up winning a majority of the time, and it creates, I don't know, it's just odd. I'll leave it at that. But maybe we'll see something clever from Flash, because Flash is known for being cheesy, and it looks like he is going straight Medic Marine. And he doesn't really, he has that single Zergling spotting, so I think he can get those 3 sunken colonies down before that kind of pushes in. But maybe Flash will just push up, catch Savior off guard before he's produced a lot of troops, and just shove up. And yeah, he's immediately going to switch into that looks like 3 barracks. I would expect 4 barracks down in just a second. Or he already has 4 barracks, the other at his front door. Just going to push a ton of Marines out the front, just do a standard Medic Marine rush, and really, Savior, I don't know if he's going to have enough Mutalisks, enough Hydralisks, or anything to stop this now. As you can see, Savior just now, he's getting his Spire up. He was basically rushing, thinking that Flash was going to be a little more conservative, but Flash being a lot more aggressive. He's got a lot of troops on the ground, and again, so much information denied to the Zerg in this situation. I don't know how Savior's going to contend with this. Maybe if he gets 3 sunken colonies down now, but it looks like that Zergling, he was gathering up some Zerglings. They're out of position. Maybe he can do something amazing and just do some amazing micro here. A factory going up in the meantime for Flash. Now he sees those Medic Marines coming out. He's going to bring some Zerglings down and try to create kind of a pincer position for himself. But it looks like he is just going to still rely, maybe hope he gets those Mutalisks out in time. I don't know if that will necessarily be successful, though. Simply because it requires more micro management for the Mutalisks versus Zergling, or I'm sorry, Mutalisks versus Medic Marine than for the Zerg's part than it does for the Terran's part. Really, the best thing with the kind of Mutalisk harass, and as you can see, Savior trying to do that pin in, but doesn't look like Flash is falling for it. Flash very familiar, I think, with Savior's style, and a single sunken colony down. So it looks like Savior is going to be okay. He's producing Mutalisks now. You can see he's kind of nervous. He really wants to get that harass off and try to go for that expansion. In the meantime, I'm surprised that Savior decided to open up his front door. He opened up his front door. Really, he could have just lifted that barracks off and brought it back. He's going to lift off his front door. We'll see if he has any turrets down. I know he had the engineering bay. He could just be using it for upgrades and not put down turrets, which does look like it is the case. So he might be successful with this harass, but a lot of Medic Marines out. Managed to take down a Medic Marine. Going to bring up some Zerglings. And here comes a push. Hydralisk Den going down, because he knows he has to go kind of lurker harass and maybe a late game micro. Those lings pushing in, but wow, that's just too many Medic Marines, and not really a successful attack right there. All those lings just absolutely getting butchered. Too many Medics and Marines on the ground. He wasn't able to create separation between the Medics and Marines to really be kind of be successful with that attack. And in the meantime, looks like he's gonna. I think Savior, yeah, he's gonna try to expand